the Domesday book, and I don't know how to pronounce it. That was ordered by William the Conqueror at some time. William the Conqueror had come from Normandy over to England in 1066. In the Battle of Hastings, he beat the Harold of East Wessex, and then he crowned himself then to be King of England. And he sent out people to make surveys, and he wanted to know exactly who obtained what. Who were the great landowners, the barons, what country did they have, what land, where was the land, what tenants were there, what servants, and what animals were living there. He wanted to know it all. And then at the Salisbury Oath, he then, in 1086, when all the barons and great landowners were gathered together, he then presented that book to show all the people there that he would take a close eye on their possessions, who owned what, and that he would demand contributions from them in the future. And this book is now in the Public Record Office in London, the original manuscript, and it gives an insight in how the legal matters were regarding the tenure of land and the geography of the country and so on. And that is according to the history of the kings and queens of England and Scotland, written by Edmund Swinglehurst on the page 30 and 31. But what I just said reflects the opinions and viewpoints of this book and not necessarily my own. Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn medieval studies today, the Domesday book, or how it is pronounced. And after we've done it, we're going to do stretching. And if you participate in the stretching, then it's very honest. The Domesday book, we read it already, now we're going to read it again, and we try to prepare a presentation of it. The Domesday book. Having conquered England and installed himself as king, William wasted no time in getting a firm hold on the administration and imposing his will on a resentful population and its barons. I don't really know what the word resentful means, but I think that means something like they didn't really want it to be governed by him. So, but we can say the other things. So he wanted to be able to firm administer and govern the country. One of the essential tasks to be accomplished was to record the lie of land in the centers of power. Lie, do I mean that it is lying? And not the falsehood, not the talking the untruth. Record the lie of the land in the center of power. He wanted to know where the lands are. We can say that because that is clear from the context of the rest. And who was all obtaining what, who was governing. Record the lie of the land in the centers of the power, and who was in possession of what, who was ruling what area with what possession. William needed to know how the important landowners were, who they were, and how much land they owned, the number of attendants and servants, and even the amount of livestock. So he wanted to have to be able to have an administration, a firm hold on the administration, so that he can govern, and he wanted to know where all the landowners were, who they were, where they were, how much land they owned, what tenants and servants were living there, and what animals were living there. This enormous task was given to surveyors who travelled the length and breadth of England, recording all the information required. The data was collected by juries, which gathered evidence from shires and courts and 7 circuits of England allotted to the surveys. I don't understand what they're saying here. So surveys, these are just people going around, I think. But who's now? Juries going to shires and courts. People were going around asking who had all. I don't understand the meaning of the second sentence. People were going around and inquiring all these informations. There were 2 Domesday books. The Great Book, which included all the land to the south of the river Ribble and Tees, and another solely for Norfolk, Suffolk, and Essex. A great one for Northumbria and downwards, and another one for Suffolk and Essex are also in the south. Norfolk is not on the map. Norfolk is not on the map, but Suffolk also not. And Essex is here. There's Northumbria. Okay, we just gonna skip that part. I don't understand it, and I don't think the informations here are enough to really mention them. The final records were presented to William in 1086 in preparation for the Salisbury Oath, a gathering to which he had invited all noble and important landowners to pay homage to the new king. If that thing is called Salisbury Oath, they were not just there to pay homage, but to, as I understand it, to make an oath on the king. Can we save it? Is it too venturous to say it? When the Salisbury Oath was happening in 1086, and all the nobles and important landowners were gathered together there, they were openly presented, but not just to William, but probably to all the other people who were also coming there. It was a significant and historic occasion for, by appearing before them, William seized the opportunity to impress them with his presence. He underlined the fact that his government intended to keep a close eye on their wealth and to demand contributions for the good of the unified England. It was a good start, but it would be years before barons would be brought into line. The second part is too complicated for us, but the other part here. So, in 1086, when the Salisbury, at the occasion of a Salisbury Oath, where all the nobles and great landowners were gathered together, and William demonstrated before them, apart with his book, that he would take a close eye on what they were possessing, and that he would demand on what wealth and what possessions they had, and that he would demand contributions from them. Though the results were not immediate, the Domesday book continued to be immensely useful throughout subsequent history, by giving a clue to various legal matters regarding tenure of land and to geographers mapping out the English countryside. I don't know what the word subsequent means. Do they mean over following centuries, or do they mean later on? We stay a bit away from it. I don't really know if they mean in what times. But maybe we say something along the line of, it helped people to understand the legal matters and the geographical positions of a country during the time. It was the first record of a country's welfare, which is now contained and administered by innumerable Whitehall departments. The book over wealth. It doesn't make sense that even down to what animal a person is having is now obtained or administered by Whitehall departments. That doesn't make sense. So we just gotta stay away from that sentence. Do they mean the book is administered? It can't be that all the possession of England and Scotland is administered in Whitehall. Unfortunately, King William, but that is what I understand from the sentence, it just doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, King William did not live to see the completion of a survey which took approximately 2 years. He started it in 1085 and lasted until the end of 1086 or something. It's never mentioned in the book. We're going to stay away from it, but it seems as if that survey took not, as I thought, 20 years when first reading that, and that he not came to England and started to register everything, but that he was in England for 20 years, and then he had the idea of a Domesday book, and when it was made. And it took only 2 years. He died from a fall of a horse too early, but too early to see the end of the completion of a book of Domesday or whatever it is. We're going to stay away from it. Today, the original manuscript of the Domesday book is stored securely in the Public Record Office in London. And the original of a manuscript is the manuscript of the whole book. Can be seen but his video can be seen, is stored in the public records office in London. Okay, we have information together. Am I able to save them now, or just the next time? William the Conqueror, when he selected, he sent people around to collect what everything was obtained, to have administration and govern the country. And at the Salisbury of 1086, he presented the book to impress. He presented the book to show that he would have a close eye and to demand contributions. And it gives an insight into the legal matters of the time regarding the tenure of land. I don't know what tenure means. Regarding the tenure of land and the geography of the country, and it was finished after 2 years at the end of 1086. But he lived until 1087. William the Conqueror lived until 1087. Maybe he was in Nantes, and he wasn't able to see it in England. He was abroad. Public record of St. Document. The Domesday book, and I don't know how to pronounce it. That was ordered by William the Conqueror at some time. William the Conqueror had come from the Normandy over to England in 1066. In the Battle of Hastings, he beat the Harold of East Wessex, and then he crowned himself then to be King of England. And he sent out people to make surveys, and he wanted to know exactly who obtained what. Who were the great landowners, the barons. What country did they have? What land? Where was the land? What tenants were there? What servants? And what animals were living there? He wanted to know it all. And then at the Salisbury Oath, he then, in 1086, when all the barons and great landowners were gathered together, he then presented that book to show all the people there that he would take a close eye on their possessions, who owned what, and that he would demand contributions from them in the future. And this book is now in the Public Record Office in London, the original manuscript, and it gives an insight in how the legal matters were regarding the tenure of land and the geography of the country and so on. And that is according to the history of the kings and queens of England and Scotland, written by Edmund Swinglehurst on the page 30 and 31. But what I just said reflects the opinions and viewpoints of his book and not necessarily mine. I need a little bit better sense at the end, but I wanted to have fun. I'm going to stop again. And that was for Medieval Studies 1. If you were here for Medieval Studies, you can go directly to the next part of Medieval Studies, where we will continue with Medieval Studies. If you stay here and participate in the stretching, then it's very honest. The feet are staying together, and open with one foot and the other foot, and then the heels, and so on. As far as you can go. And in again. This time stay down in the knees. So go now in the knees. And up. And the legs a bit apart. Breathe in the arms up. And breathe out, go to the side. In middle. Out to the other side. In middle. Out, hands down, go to one side down, the other shoulder stays down. Breathe again in. And out, one arm over. Breathe in and out the rib cage. And out and back. Breathe again in. And out, and one hand slides down. Breathe in. Out, one arm over. Breathe in and out the rib cage. And out and back. Breathe in the arms up. And breathe out and reach. In and up. Out and reach. Up. Out, hands down. And shoulders hands. Back of the shoulders. Up and front and down. Back. Up and front and down. And front. Up. Back and down. And breathe in the shoulders up. in the arms up. And reach all this with one arm high up. Pretend to take an apple hanging high on an apple branch, to turn it a bit around and then to flip it down. And legs wide apart and arms to the sides. Breathe in. And out to one side. In middle. Out to the other side. In middle. Out and lean onto the knees. Breathe in. And out one shoulder in front. In back. Out give one in front. In back. And out by hanging down. Breathe in. And out over to one leg. Again in. Out over to the other leg. Breathe in. Out into the middle. Close the feet. Breathe again in. And out. Keep down. Again in. And out comes slowly with the round back up and the top backwards shoulder out. Legs apart, breathing it down. And up and draw the shoulder blades together. In, up. Up and down. In, up. And out. In, up. Out. Breathe in and close the legs. In and out. That was the stretching. I thank you very much, and until next time.